Yo, what's happening? What's going on, everybody? As you know, as a day trader, not every day is going to be a winning day. Whether we want it or not, unfortunately, it's not the way that the world works when you're day trading. You're going to have days that you win. You're going to have days that you lose. The only thing that matters is at the end of the day, P&L is more green than red over the long run, right? So today was one of those days that I took the loss. I wasn't feeling it, and that's just the way that it works a lot of times. So in this video, we're going to be recapping the losing trades, how I could have been better, what I did feel like I did well in. So I think it's very important to take positives and negatives out of things, understand what you did wrong, understand what you did well, even though overall the whole day was bad, and then how to move forward. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So on the day, we lost $1,727. Sounds like a big number, and it is. I mean, it is what it is. The way that I like to think about these things is giving back money. I talk about this in plenty of my videos, but it's me giving back some of my gains. It's not me taking a huge loss. So in today's instance, for example, I gave back Monday and Friday's gains. So the last 2 days, I actually made $1,800. Well, today I lost $1,727. So instead of thinking about like I have to make this money back, it's really just like I'm starting back to where I was on Friday. That's it. You know, it's a very big mental shift for me to think that way, as opposed to thinking like I have to grind this $1,800 back tomorrow. It's really just like, you know, I'm back to where I was on Friday. No biggie. It's only 2 days away. Like I'll make this money back. No problem. So that's kind of how I start thinking about things after a day like today, because I don't want to start tomorrow morning still thinking about this loss, being hesitant to get into trades, being fearful to get into trades, because that is just not good on the emotional capital side. I will fail at trading, and etc. So a couple things to note here as we go into the trades. Average trade time, 20 minutes. Not great for me. I normally like to be in the market, in and out of the market, hopefully under 2 minutes at a time, taking on average $140 trades. Today, average winning trade, $200, average losing trade, $1,100. Let's go ahead and dive into the actual charts here. So started the day off in my pre-market analysis, looking at the daily chart on the Nasdaq, saying, okay, like we're looking heavy. We came back down to test that 820 level. We came back down again in the overnight session, so we had a lot of wicks here. Wicks get run, in my opinion. I don't think that a lot of wicks typically hold. So when you have a lot of wicks that are all in the same area, typically price will run through it. So I was short bias going into the day. Now, additionally, being short bias going into the day off the daily chart, the first 5 minutes of the day was actually like a nice little 40-point rip to the upside, followed by like a nice little 40-point rip to the downside. What does that mean? Well, on a 5-minute chart, when you have 40 points up and 40 points down, that's a lot of volatility for within one 5-minute candle. So typically what I like to think on that is that we might have a lot of volatility the rest of the day. Like it's setting the standard for what the rest of the day is going to be and feel like. Now, with volatility, typically comes downward price action. So if the VIX is going up, typically price is going down. And that's just because a lot of times on the grinds to the upside, we're not very volatile. It's pretty choppy. It's just like slow grinds to the upside. But when things are moving crazy, there's a lot of ups and downs, but most of the moves are going to the downside very quickly. So slow grinds up, yanks down, right? It's kind of the way to think about it. So I was immediately taking shorts on the day. But this is just one of those days, and this happens to me pretty often on my losing days. It just wasn't working from the beginning, right? And it's important to identify that it just was not working from the beginning. And it just wasn't my day. I just wasn't vibing with the market. Sometimes you're like, I can't lose. You're vibing with the market. Every trade is a really good trade. And there are other days where that is not the case. That was one of the days today. So I took a short here. Let's go ahead and go into the range, because I was taking these off the 22 range. If you're not familiar with the 22 range, it is 22 increments of price movement in order to form a new candle. So I took a short here because sellers were looking in control. Well, price pretty much immediately pumped off of that, which did not help the emotional capital tank. Emotional capital is typically, it's like a fuel tank in a car, right? It goes up to 100 and it to full, and then it slowly depletes throughout the day. So this trade immediately took some of that 100 and kind of put me out like 3/4 of the way through my emotional capital tank, which keeps me seeing clearly because my mental is focused, right? If my emotional capital is gone, I don't see the markets clearly. I FOMO into the markets. I make dumb, rash decisions, and you'll see those kind of play out over time here. So first trade I ended up averaging in at the top of the range. This is a pretty good average. It obviously kicked up a little bit more, But we came back down. I got out of my first entry here at volume. This was a minus $160 trade. Felt very good about that actually because I took risk off the table. I should have just killed the whole trade. Hindsight comes in and says I should have just killed the whole trade at that point. I would have been up $400 in the green. But instead, I wanted it to see the -1 standard deviation here at the 50s. We never got there, even though sellers were looking in control. We never got there, and price actually reversed back to the upside. So instead of being out of both contracts in the green, I was still in one contract, basically in the red here. Now I saw this big sellers come through. I added in short again, thinking we were going to get the immediate flush. Instead, it pushed back up very strongly in my face. And so this is another great example of emotional capital just immediately getting depleted. Me starting to realize that this might not be the best day for me to be in the markets. However, sometimes I just don't listen to myself. This is a great example of that. So we kicked up and we immediately flushed back down. This all happened very quickly. A lot of sellers starting to come through here. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we're for sure going to sell off. It's just a matter of time and being patient enough. But in the meantime, I'm having to withstand this drawdown and just wasn't feeling great. Emotionally, I was feeling a little taxed. Got out of one trade here at volume. Felt really good about that one. Took $200 there. So overall, we were green on the day at this point. 160 to 200, so $40 green on the day. And then I started seeing us kind of push up again here. In fact, we made a new little short-term low on price, but Delta did not make the short-term low, so that typically means we're going to go up. So I got scared on that push. I did not want to see price go back up into the 920s range. So I actually exited out at market here for $130. So overall, at this point, we're up $170 or something, give or take, after commissions. And felt good. Obviously, my target was down here at the -1. We immediately basically went down, ticked it. I would have bottom ticked the exit. Felt super great about that. I left $600 on the table by kind of being not patient, right? But the reason I wasn't patient is because my emotional capital had been taxed and taken from me this entire trade. And I did not want to have to put myself through that position again if price floated back up here. And so my emotional capital was gone and I exited here, which I was happy about, but I did leave $600 on the table. So fast forward, we take a long because we see that Delta's grinding up. I take a long off volume. We get filled for 7 points, $140 trade. Felt great about that trade. No problems there. We took a little bit of heat, but nothing crazy. It was like 10 points or something. We top ticked our exit. Super great about that. And we immediately sold off 70 points. So I sold off 70 points. I decided to get long. I liked the momentum that we were seeing here. I thought we were going to get the quick volume flush up to 35. I was looking for 7 points. Top ticked my entry short. So not great. So really good exit, really bad entry. I averaged in because I thought, okay, we're in the -2, -3 zone. We typically bounce from here. We're sitting on volume. And I thought we were going to get the push. Didn't happen, right? So I'm clearly not seeing the market well in terms of my standards. Now, one of my rules is I don't sell the -2, -3. A lot of times we bounce off it. Here's a great example, right? We come down to the -3 zone, third standard deviation off of VWAP specifically. We get a lot of buyers coming through, and it's starting to look good. But we never really get there. I don't average into a third lot, so I said I was going to talk about things I was happy about, things I was upset about. One, I was upset about this trade, just not being fully patient, not killing it as fast as I should have probably. But on the flip side, I'm glad I didn't average in any more. So I kept it to two contracts deep. I didn't add a third, so that's good. I'm happy about that. Good job, Matt. We came back up. I don't think we ever actually got green. We were about 3 points away from getting green on this trade right here. Right at volume at 820. I really thought again that we were going to push into the -1 standard deviation, and it just never happened. And that's just the way price action works sometimes. When we failed to get this push up, we got a ton of sellers coming through, and I marketed out for the loss. So that was the $1,700 loss here, or a little more than that, I guess, technically. About $2,000 total, I guess. But because we were up $300 before, we ended up being $727 down on the day. Now, looking back, I see that was the right call, right? $1,770 on the exit. I saved myself another 60 points of drawdown per contract. So another $2,000. I would have been down super heavy. I would have had to killed it at 3K because this is a top step account. I can't go more than $3,000 in drawdown. So instead of me trying to be greedy and wait for this thing to pull back up, I just exited out at 1700. I understood at this point in the trading stream this morning that I just wasn't seeing the market clearly. We're at that 10:30 time when I really don't see the market clearly at all. I know that about myself. And so I just called it a day. In my mind, I saved myself $1,300 by not holding on to this thing because this happened very quickly. And I would have had to have exited at 3K drawdown. So I am happy that I exited at 1700 as opposed to 3K. $1,300 is $1,300. So again, a little bit of silver lining there. But these videos suck because I hate not performing well. I hate not doing my best, right? But it's part of trading, and I think it's very important to showcase that trading is not always green days. It's not always $1,000 days to the upside. Sure, you can have $7, $8, $9, $10,000 days to the upside, but you're going to have $1,000 or $2,000 day to the downside eventually. It's going to happen. At least for me and my trading, that's just the way it is. And I think it's important to showcase that, the good and the bad. So this is the bad all laid out. However, even in the bad, there are some signs of good. For instance, not taking the full 3K drawdown. I'm happy with that. Having the short bias throughout the morning. I'm happy about that, even though I went against my short bias, right, at value area low. I should have just held on to my ideology that we were going to be selling off all day, right? I would have been making absolute bank. So it is what it is. But that's the recap on the day. This did happen live on stream here on YouTube on my channel every morning, 8:20 Central. I'm live streaming my trading. So if you watch this recap and you're not actually watching live, you can watch all this done in real time. But it just is what it is. Today was a big old pain train day, but you know, we're going to come back and be stronger and better about it. So that's just the way trading works. I hope this video is helpful. If you enjoy seeing the live trading or like these recaps have been helping you, make sure you press that thumbs up button down below. And then if you're interested in the live trading and these recaps, just being notified about it, make sure you press that subscribe button. That helps me out a ton as well. I'll see you in the next video and in the next live streaming session. Come say hi. Peace.